This is Marie from Underground Crafter, and welcome back to part 6, which is the last section of the Layers of Texture Infinity Scarf Crochet-a-Long. In this particular crochet-along, we've been learning about intermeshing crochet, also known as interlocking crochet or double filet crochet. And we are following along with part 6 of the crochet-along today. So to get to this point, you have already done rows 1 through 12, and you've done your last 2 divider rows, which are these which are not interlocked. And we're going to be working on row 13A and B and 14A and B in this section, which is what I'm calling the dots and dashes stitch. So just a couple of quick reminders about intermeshing crochet. First of all, we're always working the same color stitch into the same color stitch. So for this particular pattern, in the sample that's in the photograph at the front, I'm using Lion Brand Heartland in Shenandoah and Joshua Tree. This sample uses Glacier Bay, which is the blue, for color A, and Big Ben, which is the brown, for color B. We are always going to be working into the same color as I mentioned, so anything in blue is only going to go into blue, anything in brown is only going to go into brown. We're always skipping chain 1 spaces, or these little insides of the boxes. We're always working double crochets into double crochets, and all of our stitches are placed relative, so they're either in the front or in the back of the chain 1 space of the other color. So we start the row with the yarn on the side of our dominant hand. So if you're a right-hander, it should be on your right side. If you're a lefty, it should be on your left side. And for this particular row, which is 13A in the pattern, we're going to leave color B at the back of our project. We're going to start with a chain 4 in color A, which counts as a double crochet and a chain 1 space. And then we're going to double crochet in the front of the next stitch, which is very easy because it's already at the front. Now we're going to repeat this next part across. So we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet in the front. We're going to repeat that all the way across. So you might say this is a pretty easy row compared to what we've been doing so far because the double crochets are in the front. So working a double crochet in the front is basically working a normal double crochet. So we're going to continue that all the way across. And when we get to the end, we're of course not going to turn because we've only finished the part A part of the row. But we are going to switch out our stitch marker so that we don't lose our loop here. So I'm going to pull up this loop and put it on the hook with my color B. And then I'm going to put my stitch marker on my color A loop so I don't have to worry about it. So now for 13B with color B, we're going to chain 4. Again, that will count as a double crochet and a chain 1 space. And then we're going to work our double crochet in the front of the next stitch. So let's line these up. Remember that our color A row has 1 extra stitch on each side, so it's wider than our color B row. So in the first chain 1 space on the color A row should be our first double crochet in the color B row. So if we need our next stitch to be in front, we have our next chain 1 space on the color A. We need to pull our color B double crochet towards the front, and then we're going to work our double crochet in the front. Now we're going to repeat this next part 3 times. We're going to chain 1 and skip 1, and we're going to double crochet in the front of the next stitch. So again, we're going to be pulling our next double crochet in color B towards the front of the color A chain 1 space. And then chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the back. And because the double crochet is already in the back, that's basically just a regular double crochet stitch. So that was 1 time. We're going to repeat it 2 more times. So chain 1 and skip 1, and then we're going to double crochet in the front. So we'll push this color B stitch out towards the front, and then chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the back, which is where it already is, so that's nice and easy. And then we're going to repeat it 1 last time, so chain 1 and skip 1, and it may help to line these up a little bit better so you can see what you're doing. And double crochet in the front. So I'm pulling that brown to the front. And then chain one and skip one and double crochet in the back. Now remember that we're never going to be actually working the stitches through the other color. So we're never going to put our brown or color B into our blue or color A. We're always going to be just weaving those pieces together, but not actually inserting our hook into these different parts. Now I'm going to turn, and I will switch my stitch markers again because I don't want to lose my color B. And again, when you turn, you're always going to have the working yarn on your dominant side. So if you're righty, on your right side, and if you're lefty, on your left side. And we're going to keep the color B in the front, which is actually where it already is, so that's nice and easy. And then we're going to chain 4 with our color A. 1, 2, 3, 4, and again this counts as a double crochet and a chain 1 space. Now for row 14A, we're going to first double crochet in the back. So our first stitch is already on the back, so that's nice and easy. And then we're going to repeat this next part across. We're going to chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the back. And we're going to repeat that all the way across. So for all of our row 14A with our color A, which in my case is blue, we're going to be working into the back. And some of these stitches are already facing towards the back, but some aren't, so we may need to give them a little gentle push towards the back. And we'll just keep working our way across. Now, a number of people have expressed concern in the Facebook group and in the Ravelry group because the edges are not interlocked, meaning that the last stitch of the row doesn't interlock with the other stitch. And that is true on mine as well. Actually, I'm just going to take a moment here. You can see that. And part of that is because there's the extra stitch on the color B, so, or rather on the color A, there's that extra stitch on each side. Okay. All right. So now we're not going to turn, but we're going to switch up our stitch markers again because we finished row 14A. We don't want to lose our loop on our A. And now we're going to pick up our color B, which again for me is the brown, and we're going to chain 4, which again is going to count as a double crochet and a chain 1 space. And then we're going to double crochet in the back of the next stitch. So we're going to gently push this next double crochet that's in brown towards the back. And now we're going to repeat this next part 3 times. We're going to chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the front of the next stitch. And then we're going to chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the back of the next stitch. And that was 1 time. We're going to do this 3 times in total, so 2 more times. So chain 1 and skip 1, double crochet in the front. And chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the back. And then repeat it 1 more time, chain 1 and skip 1, double crochet in the front. Oops, and chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the back. Now you're going to repeat those 2 rows, 13 and 14, or 13A and 13B, 14A and 14B, until the section after the last set of divider rows, which are these ones that aren't interlocked. You're going to repeat this for another 8.5 inches, or if you're making a long scarf, about 1/6 of the total length of your scarf. And then you're going to repeat the divider rows. So for those of you who don't remember those, let's do those now. So we're going to switch again back to our color A and put our stitch marker in our color B. And for the divider rows, which are 3 and 4 in the written pattern, we're going to leave our color B in the back and have our color A in hand. And we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to double crochet in the front of every one of these. So we're going to double crochet in the front, then chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the front, and we're going to continue that chain 1, skip 1 and double crochet in the front all the way across this row. And again, these divider rows are not intermeshed, they're just kind of a way to create a little bit of a visual distinction between the parts of the stitch pattern so that it doesn't get, each part kind of has its own space so that it can be distinctive. And here we come to the end of the row. And what do you think we're going to do on the next part? You probably remember this because you've been doing quite a lot of these divider rows, I would imagine, if you are all working on this in real time. So you may have guessed that for the color B, we're going to be, of course, we're switching the stitch marker. We're going to be chaining 4 and we're going to be double crocheting in the back of each stitch. So we're going to double crochet in the back, and then chain 1, skip 1 and double crochet in the back, and that's what we're repeating all the way across. So chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the back. And you can see that these rows are not interlocking because we can actually just push the color A row forward completely. And when we get to the end, we're just going to switch out those stitch markers again. So we will turn again, and remember that your working yarn will be on the side which is the side of your dominant hand. So if you're righty, it'll be on the right side. If you're a lefty, it'll be on the left side. And we're going to switch those stitch markers to put one on the color B, and we're going to leave the color B yarn towards the front for this particular, oops, I lost a loop, and that just shows you the dangers of moving your stitch marker too quickly. Just redoing that last double crochet there. So with my color A, I'm going to chain 4, which counts as a double crochet and a chain 1 space, and then I'm going to double crochet in the back, and then I'm going to repeat that all the way across. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the back, all the way across this row. And as you can see, the stitches are not interlocked. They're sort of flopping around, but that's okay because that's what we're expecting at this point in the pattern. And when we're done with this color A row, again, don't forget about your stitch marker because you don't want to unravel like I just did. And then we're going to, with our color B row, which again the divider rows are 3 and 4 in the pattern for this, we're going to chain 4, and then we're going to double crochet in the front, and then we're going to chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the front all the way across. Now once this color B row is finished, we're actually going to join this into an infinity scarf because right now it's just a long flat piece. Now let's say you don't want to make it an infinity scarf. If you want to keep it a quote-unquote regular scarf, then don't do these divider rows. You can just finish it after the last row that you did of the other pattern. Okay, so once we have this finished, we're actually going to fasten off color B. We're going to fasten off color B because we don't need it anymore. Just fasten that off. I actually don't have a scissor right in front of me, so I'm just going to leave a loop there for now. But we'll turn, and what we're going to do is we're going to make the wrong sides face. Now you might say, well, what's the wrong side? Well, personally, I would consider the color B side the wrong side because it's a little bit shorter. However, this is really a reversible pattern. So I would pick the side that you like less and make that be the wrong side. And then we're going to hold them together. So again, the wrong sides, which would either be the color B side or your least favorite sides, are touching each other. And then we're going to take our color A, and we can take out our stitch marker here. and we're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet through both of our color A layers. So we're going to put our hook into this color A right here, and then we're going to get our first double crochet on the other color A piece, and we're going to insert our hook there. All right, and then let's just find the yarn here. It's a little bit tangly. We're going to single crochet. So if you don't remember the single crochet, you insert your hook first through all the layers, then you're going to yarn over, and then you're going to draw through all these layers until you have one loop left, and then yarn over and go through both loops, and that's a single crochet. Now what we're going to do is this part we're going to repeat all the way across. We're going to single crochet through the color A chain 1 space and the color B double crochet, which was right here, on both layers. So we'll go get the other color B double crochet here and the other chain 1 space in our color A. So you'll see we have really 4 layers. We have a chain 1 space in color A, we have these 2 double crochets in color B, and then another chain 1 space in color A. Now I'm just inserting my hook through the actual space. You don't have to put it literally into the chain 1, although you could choose to do that if you prefer. So once the hook is all the way through, again we're going to do that single crochet. So it's going to be yarn over and pull through all of this stuff until you have one loop or one extra loop, so 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Now for the next part, we're going to single crochet again through both layers. So it's going to be the double crochet on the color A, the chain 1 space on the color B, the other chain 1 space on the color B, and the other double crochet on the color A. And again we're going to yarn over and pull through all of that. Oops, yep, there we go. And then yarn over through both. Okay, so now you're going to just repeat that all the way across. So again you're going to go into the chain 1 space of the color A, and then both of the color B double crochets, and then the chain 1 space that's corresponding on color A. Yarn over and pull through all of those loops, and then yarn over and go through both loops. And then in the double crochet of the color A, the chain 1 spaces, 2 of them of the color B, and the double crochet of the chain 1 space. And you're going to repeat all of that all the way across to the last stitch, and then I'm going to join up with you there. Okay, so now we've worked across and we're at our final double crochet in our chain 1, in our color A rather, and this is that turning chain, so it's a little bit floppy, but that's okay. So we're going to put our single crochet in the double crochet of just these last 2 layers. We don't have any more of our color B, and that's it. We finished it off. Now all you have to do is weave in the ends, and you want to turn it right side out so that you're not going to see that seam. And now let's talk about the edges. I did not join mine in the sample. I left them like this, but what I did do is I blocked it. And by blocking, if you're not familiar with blocking, what I mean by that is I sprayed it with cold water and I pinned it in shape on either an ironing board or a blocking board or a bulletin board, anything that's kind of spongy. And what happens is that this edge will look a little bit neater. It won't be all, you know, rickety like it is now. And then it will just sort of relax into place. And so that's how I did mine. You may find that you want to cover over these edges. If you are going to cover over these edges, what I would recommend is to not fasten off your color A here and to work a single crochet border. And for that you would chain 1. And then you would work a single crochet stitch, or probably 2, around each of these double crochet edges, and that would just make the border look a little bit cleaner. But that's absolutely not necessary. It's just based on your personal preference. So I hope you've enjoyed the layers of texture infinity scarf crochet along. Presumably yours is bigger than this sample. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you enjoyed the dots and dashes stitch, and please subscribe to my channel so you'll get my next video. Have a great day.